Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Cryptid Creator Corner. I'm Byron O'Neill, your host for our Comics Creator Chat. Today, I'm joined by two new faces on the show who co-created the funniest book I've read this year by a mile. That is Dinner Date from Ignition Press, surely the only dynamic duo that could breathe life into the Gowanus Canal enough for me to give a shit about it. Please welcome Joanne Starr and Khary Randolph. How are you both doing today?
We're great. We're surviving a heat wave in Europe.
Yeah, it's actually kind of miserable outside. We're literally in a hotel across the street from our apartment.
This is
So
not our beautiful art.
I like the art. It's really
Yeah.
nice. For people who are
it's
listening
working.
on the podcast, so sorry. We can't help you there. Well, you didn't get to San Diego, nor did I, but you beat the FOMO by doing something, in my opinion, way better. So you were nerding out in Switzerland, including a visit to the H.R. Giger Museum. So first time there?
Yes. It's not our first time in Switzerland, but our first time to that part of Switzerland. And we went to the Eager Museum. We went to Queen's former recording studio and
Oh, wow.
something
Yeah.
else.
We went to the
Oh,
shot.
we went to the Charlie Chaplin Museum,
Yeah.
which is like a whole Charlie Chaplin theme park, basically.
Yeah, we moved to Vienna, Austria 3 years ago. So visiting different European countries is just like a hop and a skip for us these days. So it's pretty
That's
cool to
awesome.
just hop on a plane and like an hour later be somewhere completely different. It's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, you could be somewhere completely different on a plane from North Carolina, where I'm at. By the way, I don't have much sympathy for the heat wave because, like, it's a soup outside here. So, yeah. But yeah, it's been a minute, I guess, since I've been to Switzerland and the Giger Museum. I was on tour in the late 90s. I think I was working for Ozzy at the time. It's been a while,
It's
but no idea if it's still there, but the baby machine thing was brand new when I visited. I don't
baby.
are they still there?
I don't remember.
A strip of baby heads.
Yeah, it was definitely thanks.
Yeah. Well, the
Okay.
problem with the Giger Museum is that there's no information. It's like there's a lot of art and not a lot of explanation. So we were just looking at things and not really knowing what we were looking at.
And also with Giger, it's like once you've been there for like 5 minutes, it all kind of blurs into one big
Yeah,
phallic. Yeah. I'm not gonna say
yeah.
mess,
So
but
penetration.
it's a lot of penetration, a lot of
It really
orifices, and
is.
yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of
I
great
think
inspiration.
okay, we won't go there. Well, maybe it does apply, okay? So, we'll get into Dinner Date. Romance comics are normally not my thing, but something about this really spoke to me, and I was like, "Oh, I wanna talk to them about that." And after reading it, y'all killed it. And I wanna just take a moment here to kinda give Ignition Press their flowers because they are absolutely, bar none, the best indie publisher in 2026 for
Agreed.
me.
Yeah.
Like, fantastic stuff that they're putting out. Like, everything that they're doing, like Dog Sitters. Like, I wouldn't give a shit normally about
Right.
a romance comedy about dog walkers, but, like, it was fantastic. So, how did
Yeah.
the book end up with Ignition?
Um, so I actually started working on this book probably before any comic I've done. Like I had this idea um years ago, maybe like 20 oh, whenever I had it was probably like 10 years ago. I had a hip surgery and I realized that I was going to have a lot of downtime and at the time I was like a comic book editor, freelance, and then I was also editing self-published books which are awful. Don't do that. Um
Okay.
and I was like I have a lot of downtime. Maybe it's time to finally try and write something. And so I came up with this while I was full of oxy and other painkillers after my surgery and couldn't get out of my fourth floor walk up in Manhattan. And then it just sat for a long time um, because the actual subject matter is not, most mainstream comic publishers don't want a rom-com, even if it's a vampire rom-com. Um,
Sure.
but then we did Sirens for Boom, which has some vampires in it, but we got to know the guys at Boom, uh, and when Philip branched off for Ignition and took all these other great people like Jamie Rich and Jeremy Hahn, there was like this power group. And so we said, maybe let's chat with them. Uh, so they told me, look, we're not trying to do superhero books. We want to do something different. And I went through my archives and I was like, I have something that I've been wanting to do forever. And I think probably they were open to it because Sirens had been well received and was closer to this kind of genre of supernatural, a little romance.
Yeah, I mean, for me, once we had finished Sirens, we were definitely in a mode of what should we do next? And she's always got a couple different ideas that she's working on at the same time. And for me, it was something about this book. It had elements that I loved already. We were doing it Sirens, like one, the vampire aspect, two, the fact that it's based in New York City, which also has that kind of connection. So like I kind of felt like it would be a good fit for me because if you like Sirens, it's an easy enough trajectory to go from one book to another. And also I really wanted to do a book in color again after Sirens, which was I loved working on that so much, but I was sick of seeing myself in black and white, and I just wanted to pop a lot of color, and I just thought this would be a good book to really emphasize some of that kind of visual style going forward.
Gotcha. Well, the premise of the book, I think, Joanne, comes from your experience online dating apps, and it sounds like also sort of a, oxy haze at the time. I am absolutely glad I've never had to do that. I think I'm just a little bit aged out of that whole, online dating app thing. God forbid something should happen to my wife. I'm going to be all like Obi-Wan Kenobi living as a hermit for the rest of my life. You know, it seems terrible, right? Given the tone of the book, it's worse than I imagined? Question mark?
Oh, it's awful. I was on the dating apps for probably close to 10 years. and I think I only ever went on 2 second dates. Like, that's how bad it was. It was just a million first dates. Um, and a lot of the stuff that you see in the book that's like messages from guys or like screen names and stuff, that's real experiences that I had.
Oh my god.
Um,
Okay.
guys, men will just send you the most disgusting messages that you did not ask for. I don't know what about my profile because my dating profile was like talked about comics and Eugene Merman's my favorite comedian. Like it was very specific, not like
Yeah.
send me your dick, but they all
Right.
send you their dick. It doesn't. They're not even reading the profile. So,
Joanne is, she's my creative partner, but also my life partner.
yeah. So I don't have to do
Right.
that anymore.
Before we even started dating, we were friends for a very long time. And some of my
Okay.
favorite stories she would tell is just, so I went on this date with this guy, and they were always horror stories.
Always.
And so that's another thing where I was just like, she's already got a wealth of experience in this realm already. So it's perfect for comics. It's perfect.
Yeah, and it definitely I think all women who have to be on the apps feel a certain amount of rage.
Believe it or not, it became up at dinner the other night. I was telling my wife about the premise of the book, and I guess it sounds dead on because she said she had friends that got on the dating apps, and in less than 24 hours were like just 60 dick pics. It's just like
Yeah. Mhm.
the and I got to be honest, like the penis is not very pretty. Like I don't understand how
Hi.
this is the first salvo for dudes, and that's going to just win you over. Like I don't know. Anyway, we won't we
No, they
won't
know
devolve
that
too
it's
bad.
not. It's like it's a power thing. And I think that's why this idea, makes sense because it makes women get so angry, right? Nobody's nobody's getting a dick pic and going, "Look, thank you." It's like you're
Right.
you're full of rage. And I was just like, it makes sense that if you wanted to go and murder a million horrible men, if you wanted to make sure that the people you were killing were kind of dickheads, this is how you would find them. So if I was a
That's
vampire, is what I would do.
logic tracks. The book starts so well. You have this unlikely setting of your two main characters of Sydney and Izzy and their sort of budding potential love interest, but it starts in of all places, a ride share, which feels like
Yes.
a weird connection point. So where did that come from?
um, it wasn't in the original story. There was a lot of scenes on the subway in the original story because it was not. It was a while ago, and ride shares weren't as popular. But I
Right.
think we sort of had the idea, that we want New York to be a character in the book. Uh, the setting is really important to what's happening. Um, and rideshare allows them to move around the city. And it also created like a natural meeting place for her to meet somebody that she wasn't looking for, right? So Sid's a vampire and she's hunting these men. She's not gonna, you know, go out on a date with a nice chick. That's not her priority right now. So having them meet in this unnatural way where we can right away see what Izzy's personality is and how she could win Sid over, it just made sense.
And I think visually it really it helps me to showcase as much of New York City, specifically Brooklyn for a lot of it, as possible without, having to physically go to this location, go to this location, which kind of it's like a nice little tour and it lets me to really show off a lot of my crowd skills.
He loves to draw a complicated background.
Well, it worked really, really well. Like it's very different. I don't think I've ever quite seen it before, right? Because Kari, you created an in, like an intimate space. It's not something we necessarily always think of an intimate space, but it really became that here. It snapshots this encapsulation, right? Where the world outside sort of recedes. It mirrors my own experience meeting my wife for the first time. Connection eclipses environment. I imagine that's probably true for most people when
Yeah.
it's like oh, I really like this person. But of course you have to create that with a comic book. So walk me through working inside that space as an artist.
Well, it's, one of the easiest and the hardest things as a visual artist is drawing two people having a conversation, right? Like
Yeah.
in theory, it should be like pages you can just fly through because you're just doing talking heads. Uh, but I really care about uh, keeping the reader's attention and my attention too, honestly. And so I'm always thinking about how to draw conversations in a way that haven't been seen before, or hitting unique angles, or just making sure that every panel is interesting. And I think when you're in car like that, you just have so many options to just kind of explore the world around you while still focusing on the the world. There's the world inside, that's the conversation, but then you see the world outside as well, and that juxtaposition makes for some really interesting camera shots and angles.
Tell him about the color inspiration.
Oh yeah, and so I mentioned color earlier,
Right.
and one of the I was when we first started working on it, I was like, how do we make this book stand apart visually? And so I really started just looking at movies and films, and I started really digging back into the works of Michael Mann, and specifically the way he shoots night scenes, because I knew night scenes would be a big part of this book, vampire story, obviously. And he
Yeah.
does a lot of night scenes and colors where it's shot so vividly. He uses a lot of neon, a lot of just rain slick effects, and I was like, "Boom, that's exactly what this book needs." And so I knew I wanted to get a lot of color, but also a lot of mood. And rain plays a big part as well, in a sense, because I'm always in New York. I feel like some of the most visual aspects of New York are like right after it rained, or like
Sure.
right when it's raining. It really brings out kind of a mood to the city. And so I just getting all of that in one thing was like it was very important to me. And you'll see throughout the series, it's always either to rain, it's raining, or it just finished raining. It's just a constant thing in this book.
Yeah, it really gave the colorist, it's Emilio Lopez, like
Yes.
absolute moments to shine for
Yeah.
their work. Like stunning. Like, I was like, whoa, this is great.
And me and Emilio have worked together at this point for close to 20 years. Uh, and even still, he still finds a way to surprise me. Like this is some of the best work he's ever done. Like when the first couple of pages started rolling in, I was like, oh, you're going somewhere else with this. Yeah, like he took me a little bit of inspiration and he brought it up to like 11.
Yeah, I think a magical thing about this book is that we all have these relationships where we really understand each other and each other's work. So it just kind of comes together in something that is beyond either any of our capabilities. It just like works. So
And we all have, I mean, those two, Emilio and Joanne, are both New Yorkers, so they know the terrain already. And me,
Gotcha.
I'm not from New York, but I lived in New York from 1996 to 2023. So I lived in New York longer than I lived in my own home in Boston. So I know the landscape. So it helps when everyone, you can give visual cues to Emilio and I don't have to say a word. He knows exactly where that is. He's like, that's Junior's cheesecake. That's the wine. Like he knows it all already. And I don't have to say anything to him.
but please don't try and map out the whole thing when you read it because if we made a mistake, I don't want to hear about it.
Listen, I actually mapped it out. Okay. So feel free. I got you.
It won't be me. I'm from the South, so you don't have to worry about that. But all that background, right? Creating Izzy, you get a real strong sense of who they are without needing a whole lot of exposition. You know, it becomes very, very clear. You've got these Easter egg nods to, and I won't give anything away, but there's a murder's row on the dash.
Yeah.
And I was not familiar with Talia, the Mujer Latina. Like that's some serious like Gloria Estefan like throwback Miami sound machine shit right there. So I don't know who the fan is there, but I had to look that one up.
Uh, it's been, you know what? I don't know at this point. It's
Must have been you.
it was probably, you know what it was? No, no, no. It was Emilio.
Oh.
Emilio, because Emilio started his own stuff. And Emilio's mom, she was a big, uh, she was a big Latin, well, she worked in a lot of Latin bands back in the days.
Okay.
And yeah, she was like, she worked with some big name people. And so I think he likes to throw in mom, a nod to his mom every once in a while.
Oh, that's sweet.
I love that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you were talking about the influence of film. And so I want to pick your brain there for a second. You know, keeping people in a scene. Film, you're able to do that by, panning, you just keep the camera longer, right? So you can move the eye, with that movement. Can't do that in comics. So that's one of the things I thought was really well executed, just as this setting the stage for that budding relationship. So how do you go about doing that? Like I have taught composition with photography. That's my background stuff for years, but I couldn't quite put my finger on how did Khary pull that off to like keep you in the scene.
I think really a lot of it is less about the shots and more about the body language.
Okay.
And it's, Joanne provides the blueprint. And so I once she starts giving me the information, I'm like, all right, clearly, Sydney starts off a little guarded, a little to herself, and you see her kind of opening up and relaxing over the course of the couple pages that she's in the cab ride. And really it that's the challenge, is to make sure that you show every little nuance of like, a knowing smirk or a glance, and just making the reader feel comfortable as she's feeling comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's really just getting the body language and the character down so that you feel like you're a part of this intimate conversation. And once you get that down, you can kind of throw whatever in the background. It's not all that. It's just window dressing.
Got it. Well, let's get to the blueprint. Like my takeaway from reading it was this more lighthearted approach to pointing out that oftentimes it's the faults in people that we find most attractive, right? And we find the most endearing. Hopefully, none of yours come into conflict as a collective, creative partnership here, question mark, when you're working on a book like this.
No. No, I mean, we're very in tune at this point. Like, I know that he gets bored if I give him too much of the same,
Yep.
that I have to do stuff like that. Or are you asking if our if this echoes our real life?
Not at all. Would I do that?
Okay. Um, I'll be honest though, if I just started murdering men one day, he would be like, "All right, I get it." Okay. He
I
would
get
just
it.
be like,
I'm gonna do that. I've done my fair share of dumb shit. And a lot of plenty of things. Also have done things that I'm like, dude, that's not cool.
he would
Yeah.
absolutely stand by me. It just
I would.
started went on a murder spree. Um, but wait, what were we talking
I
about?
mean, look, we both have our like unique quirks. We're very different people.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think that is kind of why our relationship works, but also as creatives, that's also why we act. Like, you know, she's very good at character direction. And I think I'm very good at like energy and creating animated characters. So I think we kind of bounce off. The book was kind of a bounce back and forth between all of that. And it also, I think it challenges me as an artist because I'm like, all right, um, I know that Joanne's not going to fill this book with, you know, a bunch of dudes punching each other for 20 pages.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like, how can I push myself as an artist to take the same energy I might take from, that kind of book, but still put it into this and make it just as interesting.
Yeah, and like at the same time, if I was just left to my own devices and nobody had any expectations of me, the whole book would just like take place in a car, with them talking about the things that happened and then an occasional murder montage. Like there would be a lot less visual variety because I'm happy to write to people sitting in a room talking, like, the whole thing. So I have to think about where do his talents shine? What is he going to want to draw? And it really, I think, works well for us.
Well, blending the kind of these two genres, right? We have horror and we have humor. They have similar types of challenges in the comics medium, analogous beats and all that. So, Joanne, comedy isn't something that's new to you as a writer. So, is blending the two at all difficult, or does it, is it peanut butter and chocolate?
Um, I think I put humor into everything I write, especially the darkest stuff, because I feel like you have to be able to laugh at everything or you're never going to survive. Uh, I've got a book coming out about the Holocaust, and there was definitely I put some laughter in there because I was just like, this is everything they
Okay,
write has to have a side to it, that lets you deal with the darkness that you're absorbing. Like you have to give
sure.
people a break. You have to let them have a laugh. But I will say I am actually not a horror fan in general. Like I don't watch scary movies because I am a big baby. And I've been asked to write a lot of horror, and I think it works for me because I don't know what horror is supposed to be. It's just in my brain, I'm like, what is the thing that's most terrifying? What am I afraid of seeing? Why don't I want to watch this? And I just roll with that. But yeah, I have to let people laugh in there so the tension doesn't build up too much. Um, I will say, in my mind, this book is a musical, right? Like, so
Okay.
it goes beyond, like, it's like if you could imagine all the guys. Well, oh god, I can't spoiler it.
Don't spoil it.
Okay. Well, you're gonna reach a part in the book where you're gonna be like, this could be a thriller music video, right? Like there's scenes in here where you're like, I could see how this could be a musical. Like how this could turn into a dance number. Um, and you're gonna get to see Khary actually draw some dancing in there.
Yeah. To me, that's it's you know, the funny thing is the two of us, I'm the horror buff.
Okay.
And she is not. And I do feel like Joanne gets asked to write so much horror, which she does quite a bit of it. She's very good at it because she doesn't like horror.
Yeah, it's so scary to me.
So she doesn't fall into some of the tropes that some people who are like big horror buffs might fall into. And
Okay.
it's the same like, you know, neither one of us is like really into like gore, for example. These stuff. And so I don't like drawing it, but I look to imply it, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So there's lots of implied gore in this book. So, and there's plenty of blood, but like I think some of the fun of it is in what you don't show. It's just like one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Well, saying argue this, but Jaws is like one of my favorite movies, and it's a monster movie, but you barely see the monster in it. Same with like Alien. It's like it's what you don't show sometimes is what is way more interesting than what you do show.
Well, I'll be definitely looking for one glove in there anyway if we're talking about a thriller homage, so at least we'll
It's
have
not
that kinda
quite
Easter egg in
that,
there.
but
There are lots of musical she's right. It's a lot of musical vibes.
I don't think this is a spoiler. There is a point where Izzy does the dance from the Backstreet Boys, Bye Bye Bye, NSYNC.
Right.
Okay.
But she does the Bye 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 dance. And so Cardi had to like free scream it to get it.
Studied in sync more than I ever have in my entire life, just to make sure I
I'm
got
sorry.
that dance properly. I mean, planned of it, I was like, maybe I do like this song. It's like, it does.
Okay, so I'll reveal one of mine here. It's like one of my hidden gem. Like I absolutely love is the Backstreet Boys song where they have the monsters in they do a whole monster theme in the video. They
Do we
do it.
know
They're
this
doing
better
this a
than me?
lot.
No.
I see. Clearly, I don't know the difference between Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. Um,
Yeah, and
I
then
worked for NSYNC for a while, so I have to know the
oh,
difference.
really?
So yeah,
Which one is the one
yeah,
with the puppet show? And
that's insane.
that's NSYNC.
That was
Oh,
yeah,
so
yeah,
do I
yep.
only like NSYNC? I don't like Backstreet Boys.
bye bye. When this music was coming out, I was too busy being like, I don't listen to that shit. I listen to the real music. So I was actively trying to avoid it at the time.
Sure.
And I look back at it and I'm like, you know what? There's some catchy stuff here. It's not the
Yeah.
worst
I
music.
like anything you can dance to.
No,
But
I'm
anyway.
totally the same. I'm totally the same. I
Yeah.
think it was really weird because it's a surreal experience for me because it's a guerrilla nature when you're working in especially in the production and the music. So you end up working with like Deftones and then In Sync, and it's just
Right.
very, very strange to try to fit those things together. Well, I want to get into what you don't see, what you were talking about there. I don't want to get too spoilery, but as a big fan of physical comedy, Jim Varney is absolute king for me. You
Yes.
sweet. Okay, I've got another fan. Ernest Goes to Camp, Paratroop Turtles, like the absolute best. It's so good. But you guys nailed some standout physical comedy moments in there. And that's something I don't recall seeing a whole lot, in comics. I'm going to assume at least, you talked about Jim Varney there, like the Switzerland trip, Charlie Chaplin
Yes.
Museum. So tell me about incorporating physical comedy into the comic book.
Oh
Is that a
boy.
you question?
I'll start out. I mean, it's uh, I think I'm trying to use any tricks I have at this point.
Okay.
With the art, it's I'm always riffing off of what Joanne started with, and it's always funny. And I'm always just like, all right, how can I make that 10% more funny? And to me, it's not slapstick per se, but it is like uh just body language. And so I'm always like, all right, if this person slumps a little more, is that funnier? Or if it's I'm trying to think of specific things from I'm not trying to spoil too much, but
There's the bag drop.
there's a just for sure.
At
Uh,
when
the body in
the
the
body
bag.
falls out of the bag.
Yeah. And it's one of those ones like when you saw that and they loved it, and I was like, phew, all right, it's like we got it with that one. And I'm always drawing everything for Joanne, honestly. And so I'm always like, if I send it to her, like if she finds it funny or good, then I'm like, all right, I know I'm on the right track.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
like, the way I write scenes like that, like, I'm very clear, like, when we see this body, we don't wanna see the gore, like, this is a comedy moment, like,
Yep.
so 'cause it could go very wrong, it could go the other way and not be comedy, but I make sure that he knows when something should be funny, you know?
And so, when you draw the body, it's just like I always just think of like when someone falls in Family Guy. It's just like the way they fall, and there's like a arm this way and a leg this way. I'm like, that to me is so funny without needing a lot of words. It's just it's there. It's like Chaplin. It's like watching, Chaplin and Buster Keaton, guys like that, who just have just mastery over their bodies and can convey mood without saying a word. I think every cartoonist should study guys like that, because our job is to tell the story without needing the words on the page, and then the speech and the bubbles and everything that Joanne adds at the end is like that's the reinforcement of what we're doing in the storytelling.
I think that's why your art connects to me so much is because coming from the background as a, professional photographer, everything that I do is sort of, it's a snapshot. It's a freeze frame. There are obviously no captions to it or anything like that. So that is how I actually read comic books. The successful ones are done. How can we do this without words? So I try to see everything that without it first, and then I'll pull in, the language for the extra exposition to kind of fill in the gaps and stuff. Um,
So, you
so
would
who are
photograph bands?
no, no, actually, so I got off the road. I promised my mom I would go back to school, finish college, so I did that. Um, so I've been on the road for 10 years at that point. Went back to school, got my degree in environmental science and anthropology, met my wife in the process. She was going to grad school, so we did follow her for grad school, was gonna get an environmental science job, when we were in Colorado. That didn't pan out because I had all my experience in, guess what? The entertainment business, so I ended up
Right.
back in that doing it as a technical director there. Our son was on the way. At that time, I'm like, "Oh, shit." Like, and I know what the business is like. The hours are absolutely brutal. So I'm like, "I'll just switch careers entirely and go become a professional landscape photographer."
Oh.
Oh,
So yeah, so that's what I did for a decade, until I developed lupus. That's a whole nother long story. So not doing it anymore, but like that's the storytelling, for me. That's my root of
Right.
it. So that's how I interpret comics. And comics kind of were my first visual love. Was probably 6 when I started with that, but yeah,
Mhm.
that's a whole other tangent, but
Yeah.
we won't
yeah.
get into that. But who are your favorite physical comedians?
Oh, boy. Physical It's funny, we're doing a New Girl rewatch, and I don't think most people don't think of, like, Jake Johnson as necessarily, like, a physical comedian, but, oh my god, he does so much with his body, and
Not just him, everyone.
yeah, oh my god.
Schmidt is
Schmidt is,
incredible.
yeah, that's such a good show. Um, but I also, oh my god, I just lost my train of thought. Old, I'm sorry. Oh, people don't don't give him enough credit, but Channing Tatum is an incredible comedian. And
Yeah.
like he has that control of his body because he's like he could dance, and that guy is so good. So good. I know this is not the classics like Chaplin, but like, oof. I mean, and then obviously the Three Stooges.
Yeah, that's good.
Sure. Sure. My question, Kari, would you be
Yeah.
doing the new girl without Joanne? That's my question. That's really what I want to know.
And
Okay.
now that lots of shows that I never would have watched about Joanne, and then I watch it, I'm like, well, that's actually, yeah, it's really good. That's a really good show. I mean, look, we sit around and watch Real Housewives of every city.
You watch so much reality TV.
Really?
And
Okay.
And you would not believe how much I learned about human interaction from watching these shows. It's just we
Okay.
talk about it all the time. Just
it's
like
people ask me about like, when the people ask me writing questions about how to like develop as a writer, and I'm like, I watch reality TV because you see people from different parts of the world, different parts of the country, different backgrounds from you, and they're constantly in conflict, which is what you're looking for in storytelling. So you learn about different people, how they speak, how they behave, and how they react to different situations. And it is like better research than anything. It's amazing. Watch The Real Housewives.
and as far as body
Fascinating.
language, I honestly like I learned everything from Tex Avery cartoons. Like
Okay.
I can watch Tex Avery all day. It's like wow, the way he can control a body through his work is just incredible. And s- just a shout out to also Martin Lawrence. I think he's just incredible. Like I just think that's the funniest man in existence, and just
You always want to watch Black Knight and you don't want to.
yeah, Night Son. But if you want to watch the actual show Martin, we'll watch it all day long.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I love Martin. That's a fantastic show. That's interesting because to hear you talk about taking reality TV and incorporating that kind of into your work as a study of people, and I guess thinking about it is very interesting because I take Traders as an example, something
Yeah.
that we end up watching,
Yo,
and like the when they have the celebrities versus because we got deep dive in that, or like Traders Australia and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and that's where
yep.
they're taking normal people, and there's a vast difference between those two things where it is just people are so used to taking their personalities and amplifying that
Mhm.
to just an insane degree with reality
And that's
TV. So
comics. It's like you
yeah,
want those kinds of big personalities. You want people who are fighting with somebody at each other's throats. You want to see what it's like when people are hurt. Um, and it gives us a lot of inspiration.
Yeah.
well, let's talk about amplifying something else here. Geographic, physical elements that, you talked about New York and you're selling New York and stuff. There's a lot of ways you can do that. Kari, you talked about the rain. That makes perfect sense. You could have chosen Broadway, but you did not. You chose the Gowanus Canal. Shout out to the Superfund site said absolutely nobody. Lots of trite quotes about how love is able to bloom anywhere, but why there?
Well, that was actually something I decided on because we needed somewhere for her to dump the bodies, right? She can't just be leaving bodies all over the city. Um,
Sure.
and because Gowanus Canal is super fucking toxic, something's gonna happen to those bodies. Um, not to be too much of a spoiler, but they're going to be affected by that water, and it becomes like a big part of the story. So we really needed something that was just known to be filthy, right?
Okay.
Everybody in New York knows that the Gowanus Canal is disgusting. It's got gonorrhea. It's sewage. It's everything is in there. So
And it's actually a neighborhood that I know very well,
Okay.
because for about 10 years, I shared a studio right down the street from the Gowanus Canal with a bunch of comic book artists in New York City. So it was something I would walk past every day, walk past, smell, sense to be like, this place is fucking disgusting. And so it's like when a place is so amazing that you can smell it before you see it, you know it's a good character.
Wow. That's the visual right there. Like, I went down a rabbit hole about this, I mean, as a Southerner, right? And I've been to New York many times, but, I've you don't get over into Brooklyn,
Yeah.
I'm like in Manhattan, and, so I watched a YouTube video about the reclamation project on this, like $2 billion to clean up what they call black mayonnaise,
Yep.
which is like
Yep.
this toxic mix of coal tar and sewage and chemical waste and whatever. I didn't even realize there were slaughterhouses on that thing too.
Yeah.
Like, that is nasty.
It's a very unique body of water. It has a lot of unique properties that are going to help us in this story.
And New York keeps trying to turn it into like a hip neighborhood too. And it's like, sorry guys, your $1 million high rises are still overlooking like the worst piece of shit place in the world. Sorry.
Yeah, it's funny, and this is a little unrelated, but we're seeing all the news out here because with the heat wave, the Danube Canal is drying up. And at the bottom of it is mammoth bones and World War II ships. It just makes me think if the Gowanus dried up, that's not where
Oh,
you would find dead body.
fun things.
It is crazy. I think there's like 6 layers that they're trying to do, because my environmental science degree actually has to do with water resources. So it's really fascinating for me what they're having to do to try to cap this stuff. It's like clay and then sand and then concrete and then more sand, just to try to filter this stuff out. And they've gotten through one of 3 phases at this point, and they're already discovering, oh wait, we're gonna have to go cap that first phase again. So yeah, yeah.
It's
Gowanus,
gross.
yeah, sounds disgusting. Well, anyway, before I get completely lost on a tangent with that stuff, um, and our government not learning the lessons of history, we'll leave it there. For dinner date, we're talking about FOC as August 31st. Is that still
Yes.
what we're talking
That
about?
sounds right.
Okay, cool. All right. So
Yes.
everybody
And
get the pre-orders in, for what I'm calling in advance the best humor-oriented comic of 2026. I absolutely loved it. You guys knocked it out of the park with this thing. So
Thank you.
thank you. And I do want to say, like, Ignition is a new publisher. They've only been around a year. They're smaller, so you really do have to ask for this book if you want it. Like, you can't assume that your store is going to have multiple copies. So if you're interested, please go do that pre-order.
I had a friend actually pick up the ash can who was at
Mm.
San Diego. So that should illustrate how much I love this book, because I don't think I've ever done that before. So,
Oh, that's
We
well,
appreciate
thank
that.
you.
absolutely. Well, before I let you go, let's quickly touch on some of the other projects you've got going on. I'd say the biggest one has to be an San Diego announcement. The ongoing Vixen series that you're
Yeah.
working on with Stephanie Williams. That's super
Yes, sir.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge, right?
It's
This
it's huge. It's funny because I have been in talks with DC for probably the last 6 months about doing something over there. It
okay.
was a few different projects, and it eventually became Vixen. That's what we landed on. And it's I've worked with Stephanie before, uh, and so we've never done like a series together. So I'm really just excited to like really go there. She wants to take it some places, and I'm like, let's go. That's where you want to go. Let's make that happen. And I'm just excited to really get into her brain more and take her vision to the next step as well. And I think people will be really into that. But I'm it's I want to hype it up, but I'm also like I don't want people to not get excited about dinner dates. So I'm like, if you did it first,
Well,
you know, we'll go to the
Buy
big
both.
$1 billion company after. But let's the indie joint first.
But the billion-dollar company is finally putting out, a black lead character headlining an ongoing series. And
Yeah.
that is the real relevance and depth of this, because we had the recent, DC Blackout Initiative that was trying to,
Yeah.
draw attention to how long it's been. And I think Vixen was originally supposed to be slated as the first ongoing female superhero, black superhero starring in her own series. That was like
So
1978. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
been a long time coming.
And just a note about that, when we're seeing all that stuff on the internet, we had already Nixon was already worse at that point.
Had to be.
So
Yeah.
I can't tell you how difficult it was to sit there and just keep my mouth shut when everyone's like,
Sure.
we want this, we want this. And I'm like, guys, we got it. Just hold, we got you. Just give us a minute. I promise you, we've got it. But it, I guess it helped us because it created even more of a spotlight on our book now. So now we just can make sure we deliver with it, or people are gonna be really
Right.
upset.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Well, Joanne, what else are you up to? You mentioned Streets of Shattered Glass there a little bit, but that's
Yeah,
2027, I
that's
think.
coming out. That's not coming out until summer of next year.
Yeah.
That is a scholastic book for ages 9 and up, and it's about 4 kids from different backgrounds living in Vienna in the days leading up to the Holocaust. So it's all the pressures building and how it affects these different children and the friendship that they grow. And that's like a 200-page graphic novel with art by Gabo. So I've been working on that one for a long time. Excited to finally see it come out. And I can't tell you what it is, but I will also have a DC ongoing coming. Uh, so if you like me and you like comedy, keep an eye out. Hopefully that'll be announced around New York Comic Con.
Okay.
And I'm working on our next Ignition book, although I have no idea when that's going to come out, but I'm writing it. There will be more from us from Ignition.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like an exciting year for you both.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's I mean, we're also just getting married.
Yeah, we're getting married
Also,
also.
I feel like
Congratulations.
but it sounds pretty cool too. So
Awesome. Well, I always try to wrap up on a high note. So around here, we do a shout out. This can be something that inspired you recently or someone that just did you a solid that you would like to thank. And I'll go first to give you a minute to think about it. And Khary, I'll apologize in advance. I don't want to make assumptions here, but mine is the gratitude for whoever makes the transfer decisions at Boston and why they wanted Paul George, because we
oh,
absolutely came out on the better end of that thing. And I'm hoping my Sixers kill it this year, make a genuine title run because we got Jaylen Brown
no,
and LeBron. So
I spent this season pumping up the Celtics doing all the way for them, really being like, guys, let's bring it home, let's get that championship. And then they dropped the ball, and then they traded one of the best players the Celtics have ever had. It hurts my soul. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about
that's
it.
fine. I won't rub the wound. Yeah.
Fun with it.
Thank you. As long as the
Who you
Knicks
think?
don't win, I don't really care.
I'm trying to
We
think.
can't have the Knicks win.
There was something we watched recently.
The challenge?
Not the challenge. Not the challenge. Come on, let me challenge too. Well, oh God, there was something. Because I'll keep it simple. We finally started watching The Bear. From,
Okay.
and to be honest, I don't love every episode of The Bear.
No.
But I will say, as a creative person, I love the risks that that show takes. Um, and visually speaking, it is a show that I can just watch all day long because they do a lot of amazing camera work. Some of the shots they choose, the visual storytelling is just phenomenal. So I know I'm super late with this, but I'm glad that show exists, and it has inspired me quite a bit lately.
Was it Spider-Man?
Was inspired?
It's about.
It was a show, but I might think of it later. I don't
I like the bear, but I think it's a little self-indulgent.
know. It is.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah. I'm just gonna give shout outs to like the people that I love that have been influential to my career, I guess. Which would be Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor, who were like my first people in comics. And Amanda definitely taught me that you can be weird and funny and still be a woman and, get your stuff out and get respect. Andrea Shea, who is the best editor at DC Comics. Apologies to all the other editors of DC Comics, but she let me write Fire and Ice and do every kind of weird thing with it. And of course, the guys at Ignition, who let us do Dinner Date, because the guys at Ignition are so open to weird ideas. Jamie Rich just rolls with everything that I do.
The list get away with probably too much.
Too much. This is going to be a really weird book, and you're going to be like, who let her do this? But also, I'm the person who wrote the Harley Quinn Fartacular, so they knew what they were getting. So, and shout out to Maureen Javins for making DC Comics fun again and letting me do the Fartacular. So there you go.
I love that. Yeah, it's comics is we're at a great time. I was talking to Philip Kennedy Johnson about Midnight Spider-Man last week, and some of the just seeing, I think it was Bleeding Cool that broke the pages on that, and that looks wild. I have never seen a Marvel book that looks anything close to this. So publishers, I think, are recognizing that, I don't know, maybe it's let your freak flag fly,
Yeah.
or
Take
whatever,
risks.
but right, we've gotten to the point with major publishers now where they're willing to do it, and I think it's the medium's all the better for it, for sure.
Yeah, let the creators create, man. Just let us do our thing. We'll give you some gold.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Khary and Joanne, thanks for hanging out with me today. You've managed to convince me that rom-coms have a place on my shelf, and that is no small feat. So nice work.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, this is Byron O'Neill, and on behalf of all of us at Comic Book Yeti, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Peace.